You work hard, maybe harder than anyone you know, and still the money disappears. The bills pile up, the stress grows, and at night you wonder why all your effort isn't enough. That frustration isn't just financial, it's emotional. It's the heavy feeling of giving everything and receiving almost nothing in return. But here's the question that should stop you in your tracks. What if financial freedom wasn't about working harder at all? What if the difference between staying trapped and finally breaking free came down to 5 clear steps? Steps anyone can take, but almost no one does? Over the next minutes, I'll walk you through those steps, one by one. For now, let that question sit with you. Picture yourself in a crowded train station. Everyone is running, pushing, chasing the next train, convinced it will take them where they want to go. But only a few know the right platform, the right train, the one that actually leads to freedom. Most people run for years, only to realize they've been traveling in circles. That station is your financial life, and soon I'll show you the map. If you're tired of running without arriving, write "ready" in the comments. Share this with someone who needs it, and let's walk the right path together. Let's bring the subject into focus. We're not just talking about money in your wallet or the paycheck that arrives every month. Money by itself comes and goes. It is paper. It is numbers on a screen. What we are talking about is wealth, and wealth is different. Wealth means freedom. It means dignity. It means waking up each morning with options instead of limitations. Wealth allows you to decide instead of being told. And here is the truth that most people never face. Wealth is not random. It is not a gift from luck. It is built step by principles. If you don't learn them, you can work hard for decades and still end up with nothing but stress. Think of Robert. He works a steady job. He's respected by his co-workers. He pays the rent, buys groceries, even treats himself to dinners and new clothes. From the outside, everything looks fine, but inside his home, it is another story. At the end of every month, his account balance is near zero. Then an emergency arrives, a car repair, a medical bill, or a broken laptop, and suddenly he is drowning. He borrows money, uses credit, and promises himself, "Next month I'll start saving." But next month never comes. Does this feel familiar to you? Have you ever told yourself you'll save when things settle down, only to see the same cycle repeat again and again? That's the trap. And here's the danger. If you don't break it, time will not forgive you. Emergencies will come, years will slip away, and one day you may wake up realizing you've been working for 20 years and have nothing to show but bills and regrets. Now imagine this. 10 years from now, you sit down and look back at your life. Will you see a decade where you built something lasting, or a decade where you repeated the same mistakes over and over? That question may feel uncomfortable, but it is the mirror you need to face. In the next part, I'll tell you a real story of someone who lived this exact struggle and made one simple choice that changed everything. It wasn't luck, it wasn't a miracle. It was a decision that you too can make. So stay with me, because the next step will open the first real door to financial freedom. And once you see it, you'll never be able to forget what you've learned. Now let's go deeper into the real foundation of financial freedom. Because let me tell you something straight. Freedom is not built on luck. It's built on steps. And if you skip one step, the entire structure falls apart. People often imagine financial freedom as some magic shortcut, like winning the lottery or stumbling on the perfect business idea. But the truth is much more practical and much more powerful. It's not about luck. It's about building brick by brick, decision by decision, until your life stands on a foundation so strong that no storm can knock it down. Think about this for a moment. Every dollar you spend, every decision you make with your money, is like casting a vote for the life you're going to live tomorrow. And most people, without realizing it, are voting for stress, for debt, for limitation. But you, right now, have the opportunity to vote differently. Let me give you a story that makes this real. A young man I once mentored, we'll call him Daniel, was stuck in a cycle many of you may recognize. He worked long hours and every paycheck he earned disappeared before the end of the month. He wasn't lazy, he wasn't careless, but he was reactive. Every expense was urgent, every desire felt like a need, and he told himself he'd get serious about money later. But later never came and debt piled up. One day Daniel had a wake-up call. His car broke down, and the repair cost was higher than what he had in his bank account. That moment of panic, standing at the repair shop, realizing he had no control, was the day he decided to change. He started small. He cut out spending that didn't serve him. He set aside just a little from each paycheck. And over time, that little became a lot. Within a year, he wasn't just out of debt, he had built savings and had options. He no longer lived at the mercy of emergencies. That's the transformation I want for you. And it begins with discipline. Jim Rohn once said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment." Without discipline, dreams are just wishes. With discipline, even the impossible starts to look possible. Now let me give you a metaphor. Imagine your financial life as a garden. If you plant nothing, weeds will grow by themselves. That's debt, that's stress, that's lack of direction. But if you plant seeds, small daily habits like saving, budgeting, investing, and you water them consistently, you eventually create a garden that feeds you for life. The seeds don't look like much in the beginning. They seem small, almost insignificant. But time and consistency turn them into abundance. Here's where it gets interesting. Many people sabotage themselves because they believe their garden should look like a forest in 1 week. They start saving, they invest once, and when they don't see quick results, they quit. That's like planting a seed on Monday, digging it up on Tuesday, and complaining that it didn't grow. Absurd, right? But that's what many of us do with our finances. Let me add a little humor to this. It's like joining a gym, lifting weights one single day, and then standing in front of the mirror, flexing, wondering why you don't look like a bodybuilder. You laugh. But isn't that what we do with money? We expect overnight muscles when we've barely done a push-up. The real lesson is this: consistency beats intensity. It's not about what you do once in a while, it's about what you do every day, every week, every month. Daniel didn't become financially free because of one big decision. He became free because of hundreds of small decisions, repeated consistently. Now, let me challenge you directly. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start saving when I earn more," or "I'll invest when things calm down"? Be honest. How many times have you delayed your freedom for later? And how many more years are you willing to give away before you take back control? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't change your direction, you will end up exactly where you're headed. And if where you're headed is stress, debt, or limitation, the price of waiting will be higher than you think. So here's my question to you, and I want you to let it echo in your mind. If nothing changes, what will your financial life look like 5 years from now? Will you still be where you are today, stuck in the same cycle, or will you be living with freedom, with options, with peace of mind? The answer depends on what you do now. And as we move forward, I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step process that turns small actions into extraordinary results. Get ready, because the next step will challenge you even more, but it's the challenge that creates the change. So let's bring it all together. You've heard the principles, you've seen the story, and you've felt the tension. Now it's time to face the truth. Financial freedom is not a mystery, it's a decision. It's the decision to stop drifting, to stop blaming, and to finally take responsibility for the direction of your money. And that decision has to be made today. Not next year, not when life feels easier, but today. Let me put it bluntly. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you will keep getting what you've been getting. And if what you've been getting is stress, debt, and frustration, then repeating the same choices is a silent agreement with that outcome. That's the uncomfortable reality. Here's an example that might sting a little. Imagine someone who spends $300 a month on dining out, streaming subscriptions, gadgets, and small purchases that feel harmless. They say, "It's not much, I deserve it." But $300 a month is $3,600 a year. Over 10 years, that's $36,000, and if invested wisely, it could easily double or triple. That means the same person who says, "I can't afford to save," is secretly spending their future wealth on coffee runs and impulse buys. Harsh? Maybe, but real? Absolutely. And here's the mirror moment. If you recognize yourself in that example, you're not alone. Millions live exactly like this. And here's the truth you need to hear. Financial freedom isn't reserved for the wealthy. It's created by ordinary people who finally get honest with themselves. So let me ask you something personal. If you looked back 5 years from now and realized you wasted this moment, that you had the chance to take control but didn't, how would you feel? Angry, regretful, or determined to finally change? I want you to leave your answer in the comments. Be raw, be real, because your answer might not only help you, it might inspire someone else in this community to wake up too. This is not just about money, it's about power. The power to live life on your terms, to give your family security, to sleep at night without anxiety, to say yes to opportunities instead of no. That's what's at stake. And as we move forward, we're about to step into a deeper level of understanding. Up until now, we've built the foundation, we've confronted the uncomfortable truths, but next is where it gets personal. It's where solutions turn into breakthroughs. Get ready, because the next part might just change everything. Do you remember the image we began with? The traveler lost at sea, drifting without a compass, watching the waves decide the direction of the journey? That metaphor was never just about the ocean, it was about your financial life. Because without a plan, without steps that point you forward, you're not sailing, you're drifting. And the waves of bills, debt, and distractions will always push you further from the shore you long to reach. But here's the revelation. The compass was never missing. It was in your hand the entire time. Those 5 steps we've been unfolding are the compass. They give you direction, clarity, and control. And the moment you choose to use them, the waves no longer control you. You control the course. That's the power of decision, and it's in you right now. So picture this for a moment. Imagine waking up 5 years from now, free from debt, with money working for you instead of against you. Imagine being able to say yes to experiences, to opportunities, even to generosity, without checking your bank balance first. Imagine the peace of knowing your future is secure, not because you hoped for it, but because you built it step by step. That vision is not fantasy, it's possibility, and it begins the moment you pick up the compass and start walking with intention. Now let me ask you something personal. Deep down, in the quiet moments when no one else is watching, do you feel that you've been drifting? And if you do, what is the first small decision you're willing to make today to prove that your story is about to change? That's the heart of this journey. It's not just about money, it's about dignity, power, and freedom. And the choice is yours. We're not finished yet, because what comes next is the final spark, the moment where all of this energy, this clarity, and this fire inside you will be directed toward a single powerful step. Get ready, because the closing may be the push you've been waiting for. This is the moment where everything we've talked about comes together, because by now you can already feel it. Something has shifted inside you. You're no longer listening with the same ears you had at the beginning. You started with uncertainty, maybe even frustration. But right now, you're holding a new awareness, the understanding that your financial future isn't decided by luck or chance, it's decided by you. And here's the vision I want you to carry. Imagine yourself, not someday but soon, standing in front of a life that looks different because you dared to make different choices. You're no longer weighed down by fear when a bill arrives. You're no longer silenced when an opportunity shows up. Instead, you're the one who says, "Yes, I can. Yes, I'm ready. Yes, I've prepared for this." That's the power of the steps you've just absorbed. But let me challenge you with this. Change doesn't begin tomorrow. It begins with the first small action you take right now. What's the one step, the smallest yet most powerful move that you can commit to today? Because no mentor, no video, no system can walk the path for you. This is your decision, your proof to yourself that you are ready. And before we close, I need to leave you with one thought that won't let you rest easily. What if I told you that there's still one hidden reason, one blind spot, that keeps people trapped in financial struggle, even after they've learned all the steps? And what if uncovering that truth was the difference between freedom and repeating the same cycle again? You don't want to miss that, because it could be the very thing standing between you and the life you've been imagining. Go watch the next video right now. It might just reveal what you've been missing. So here's my final ask. Don't just watch. Be part of this community. Share your story in the comments. Subscribe so you don't walk this path alone, and share this message with someone who needs it. Together, we're building not just wealth, but strength, courage, and freedom.